Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the May 23rd meeting of the Rotary Club of Raleigh. Great to see all of y'all's beautiful faces, Rotarians, guests, visitors, and hello to everybody out there on Zoom and LinkedIn. My name is Carrie Suffern. I am the president nominee. Our fearless leader, President Charles Edwards, is out of town this weekend. I believe he was at the PGA tournament, and it was, who won it? Who won the PGA? Justin Thomas, thank you. Won that. And also Tom Packer, our president-elect, is also out of town, so y'all are stuck with me today. So before we get started, is Richard Watkins online? No, okay. Let's have an invocation before we get started. Please join me in a moment of reflection and thanks with these words. Let us be a source of hope for those in need and contentment for those who are lonely. Let us give gratitude for our opportunity to serve Rotary. Let the feelings of love, kindness, and a well-directed yet gentle spirit always be reflected in our actions. With our friends beside us and no person beneath us, with the bonds of Rotary between us and our worries behind us, with our goals before us and no task beyond us, with a thirst for knowledge and a dream of a polio-free world, we are thankful for our Rotary friends and the meal that we are about to share. And we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's go, Big B. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night of the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, like the flow. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you.
All right. Oh my God.
Paul, you're getting, I'm going to go ahead and introduce guests. Is it over there? Okay. Great. We have one guest today. If you could stand and tell us a little bit about yourself. Matthew, oh gosh, I'm going to butcher your last name. Swiskowski. All right.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matthew Swiskowski. I'm Steve Swiskowski's son. Right now, I'm on leave at West Point, starting my 5th year there. Studying organizational psychology and engineering management there. Yeah, about 10 days in Raleigh to work outside next week. So, great to be here. Look forward to talking to some of you.
If you're a guest on our Zoom meeting, if you want to introduce yourself, I don't think we have any guests online. No. Okay. So don't forget the cart bucket in the middle of the table that goes to support Alzheimer's research, dementia research. There's been great strides in that recently, but still some work to do. So any spare change, dollar bills, whatever you have in your wallet and you can drop in there, that'd be wonderful. Mr. Upshaw, happy dollars.
Happy dollars. I'm happy I'm back from Texas, where I went last week to celebrate my mother-in-law's memorial service. She passed away in March, had a great time with the little Rotary Club.
Very cool.
20 people in the club, 10 people were there. They raised $10,000, selling $100 tickets to the community. They were debating where to give that $10,000 to scholarship. Got a picture and we'll be in the paper next week.
Bring that in.
Bring it in.
Bring it in.
Here's what
my daughter had a baby boy last week, and I'm a grandparent, so things are going very well. Brian McNally, very good. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Anybody watch not yesterday's Canes game, but the one before that? Any Kings fans?
Yeah. When they playing tonight?
Oh, I don't know.
Tomorrow night, they play that.
I should know that before I mention it. All right, thank you guys. So upcoming meetings. Next week, we are not meeting, it's Memorial Day. So y'all can still show up. Nobody will be here, you can have lunch by yourself and enjoy the view, I guess. The next week after that, on the 6th, we have Summer Wisher, who is the Executive Director of Wake Smiles once a year. Somebody from Wake Smiles comes and gives us an update on what's going on over there. And then the 13th is the year-end wrap-up meeting. This is going to be Charles Edwards' last meeting, I believe. So don't miss out on that. It's been a great year. Come and support him. Club and district news. I believe we had, no, Richard Watkins went to the district assembly. Did anybody else go to the district training? Okay. Richard, could you stand up and say a few words about that?
Oh, sure. Good afternoon, Rotarians. Yes, attended the district training on Saturday. Patty is present as well, which if you ever go with Patty to a Rotary event, it's like going to a rock star, you know, because everybody walk by and kiss the ring literally. So it was a great overall presentation on what the details. It seems like as far as the budget, the district's in good shape. Membership were up. And then we broke out into some breakout rooms. I attended the Rotary one, got some information about that. We pulled that into our service for the next year. So it was another, for me personally, another learning experience with other Rotarians. And there was an anecdote that was shared really apparently there's a Rotarian in the Cherry Club, a long-time Rotarian. He was in Greece with his wife vacationing, and he got a brain aneurysm. And his club reached out to 2 clubs in Greece, and the 2 clubs took care of the wife and brought them in and just took care of them. So it just shows you there's not one place on the planet without finding that someone else who's on the road. So, but overall, it was a great experience, and hopefully well learned to do my service leadership.
There is another training. This is going to be a virtual training tomorrow, May 24th, online from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. It's our district Rotary 7710, the Amplify Rotary training. And this is a great one for anybody. Is welcome to attend via Zoom. All Rotarians are welcome, and especially good source people that are going to be involved in public image.
The link to it is in the bulletin that was in your email this morning.
Thanks, Valerie. And then Richard, again, could you say a few words about Wake Up and Read?
Oh, sure. Well, all the slots are filled. I don't know if that's because of us, but we'll take it. Yeah. So they are good to go. They're very appreciative. Kevin and Tom and I met about service, had a meeting about service for next year. We talked about folding that in, as well as the bell ringing. And we have a goal of having a service project every month. And we're going to have a calendar out, so it won't be a surprise that day. But Wake Up and Read is on the agenda, so we're looking forward to it.
You'll notice Richard has a red badge. He's a relatively new member of the club, and he's just really taken service by storm and just really jumped in. So thank you for all that you've done, Richard, so far. Harrison, membership time. Hey.
Comes up singing. It's going to be good.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Hello to all of our friends and fellow Rotarians on Zoom. We have a couple things to go over today. First, I know that everybody has plans on Thursday because we're all going to go to the service social that's going to be at 5:30 to 7 at Raleigh R&D Brewing's Taproom 7 Saturdays Taproom, which is right off Capitol Boulevard. If you haven't marked your calendars, pull out your cell phone to put on your calendar or text yourself a reminder. But it's a great opportunity to come share your why, not share your wife. Big trouble. Share, it's not that kind of club, yeah. Share your why and bring someone who doesn't know about Rotary. I mean, at the end of the day, you can have a beer with them. That's great. So take that opportunity to come out and make sure to bring snacks for the local school in Southeast Raleigh that we support. So granola bars, apple sauce squeezies, things like that. That's what we're looking for. And then we have today a second reading. We did have 3 second readings today, but Dick and Stephen were not able to be here, so we're just going to move theirs. But Jessica, if you would come up with me up front. So Jessica Cunningham, this is your 3rd or 4th meeting actually with us.
This is the
Third meeting, awesome. She is sponsored by Eric Jones. She's originally from Chappaqua, New York, and she moved here to the Triangle in 2019. She's a representative of Your Family Bank, and she's a host of Rockstar Connect, which is a local networking group that they have some great events if you haven't heard of them. So Jessica, what excites you about joining the Rotary Club and the Rotary family?
Yeah, so Rotary Club is the oldest service organization, and it's an opportunity to get connected with other service-minded and oriented individuals who are in leadership roles and making bigger impacts, influencing policy in the area, and bringing my own perspective and network and ability to get back. Yeah.
If you have not had an opportunity to connect with Jessica yet, please do so. She's great, and she's going to be a great member, and I'm looking forward to serving with you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So next meeting we'll have her inducted, hopefully. And then everything, if anybody has any questions or anybody that you'd like to connect me with, you have my email address here, rotaryraleigh@gmail.com. Please send information my way. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Harrison. Another Rotary Club member that's done so much for the club this year. Thank you. All right, birthdays and anniversaries for the next 2 weeks. We have a lot of birthdays and anniversaries. Our Linda Monahan's is today, May 23rd. So if you want to send her an email, text message, happy birthday. Paul Corsa, yours is 30th. Patrick Hogan on the 2nd. Mr. Upshaw, Mr. Charlie Upshaw on the 3rd, and Dr. Bob Bilbrow on the 5th. Anniversaries, Dave and Lee Amons on the 24th, 36 years. Katie and Brian Mullen on the 25th, 31 years. Tom and Leslie Packard, 28th. Bill and Mary Moss, I don't know if Mary's on there, 40 years. Congratulations, guys. Ashley and Ryan Simpson on the 4th. Dr. Bilbrow and Carol on the 4th, and Steve and Susan Swerkowski on the 5th. Got it this time. All right. Congratulations, everybody. All right, without further ado, let's get ready for our program. Today, we have Easterseals UCP. Michael from Easterseals, Michael O'Donnell here from Easterseals, to speak to us. I'm really excited about this program. And how long have y'all been in North Carolina?
Since back in 58.
Yeah, so been in this area for a long, long time. I'm gonna read a bio about Michael and then go ahead and come up front. Michael O'Donnell is a founder, managing director, and general partner at Hawthorne Capital Partners. Mr. O'Donnell is responsible for executive committee leadership, firm operations, deal sourcing, investment analysis, and management. He has over 35 years of executive management roles throughout global industrial transportation and technology businesses. Mr. O'Donnell has extensive experience across multiple companies and industries in guiding organizations through various stages of growth and business transformation. In the course of these activities, he has raised more than $5 billion in support of growth programs, acquisitions, initial public offerings, and business restructurings. Prior to joining Hawthorne, Mr. O'Donnell served as a director and member of the advisory board for Lookout Capital, strategic advisor and CFO at Waste Zero Incorporated, executive vice president and CFO at Electromotive Incorporated in Chicago, Illinois, and CFO and member of the board of directors at Xerium Technologies Incorporated in Boston, Massachusetts. Mr. O'Donnell earned his BSBA from Franklin University and his MBA from Ashland University. Wow. So, without further ado, please welcome Michael O'Donnell up to the podium. Tell us more.
Down.
Up and down. Okay, great. Thank you, Carrie. That was a pretty impressive bio. Half that stuff I don't remember, but it's been a while back, but it pales in comparison to the time that I've had to spend over the last 8 years or so as a board member for Easterseals. How many people here in the room have heard of Easterseals? Show of hands. Pretty good, pretty good. What about you, Matt? Oh, okay, I haven't heard it. Okay, we're gonna help. How many people actually know what Easterseals is and what we do? Nobody. Dee in the back didn't raise her hand, but then she's taking pictures. So we have one here. So I'm going to try to broaden our knowledge about what Easterseals is and what we do in North Carolina and Virginia.
Down arrow.
Oh, down. Okay. So I joined the Easterseals board in 2014. I was looking for something more in my life, and I was looking to be part of something that was bigger than myself. Little did I know how comprehensive and deep and how highly integrated in the communities in North Carolina and Virginia that we serve. I had no idea about any of that. I was like you, I'd heard of Easterseals, but I really didn't know what we did and what we are. You know what grabs me about Easterseals, what lights my fire about Easterseals is how from the time a mentally or physically disabled individual, from the time they're an infant until they're an adult and then a senior citizen, how Easterseals blends together over multiple programs, of which I'll talk about, those things that that individual needs and their family needs to be able to evolve and move their lives forward in a meaningful way. And the comprehensiveness of that and the ease and the skill set with which Easterseals is able to execute on that is just stunningly impressive to me. And I could see the impact and the benefit that it has in people's lives and with their families' lives. And I can't get this back. Seems like it should go up, not down. I can assure you that in your town, in your community, in your neighborhood, on your street, there are people who are dealing with mental, physical disabilities. And likely they have been touched in many ways by the Easterseals organization. The numbers are staggering. You can read them. Mental health is a significant issue in our country, but also in our state and in our city, North Carolina. Developmental disabilities. And 1 in 5, that's 20% of the people that we know in our community will deal with some sort of mental health issue every year.
Yeah.
I'm apparently one of them. So Easterseals in North Carolina and Virginia is the largest provider, direct provider of services to the mentally and physically disabled. The numbers are huge. We have over 2,000 people on staff who are delivering services to people every day. We have over 1,000 volunteers that are supplementing that in many ways. We touch the lives of over 20,000 people virtually every day, just in North Carolina and Virginia. We deliver 9 million hours of service, 9 million hours of service, and we are active in some way in every county in North Carolina and Virginia. Direct services being delivered in some way. So our purpose, simply stated, is this. We want to meaningfully move people's lives forward who are dealing with a mental or physical disability. We want to help them and their families maximize their capabilities, maximize their ability to work, play, and enjoy their community. which enhances the community as well. In the process of doing that, our aspiration is pretty simple. We really want to have a profound and meaningful impact in those people's lives. While doing that, we want to continue to earn the respect and loyalty of our employees, because they are the folks who are touching those 20,000 individuals every single day. I need training. This is just some of the programs that we offer. There's many. There's probably what, 90 programs or so, but these are the key ones. No family, no individual fits neatly into any one of these individual services. Typically, it's a blend of services which evolve over time as a person's needs change, as they age, as they become more developed in terms of their ability to contribute to the community. What these do represent is important. There's expertise and training in our staff in each one of these areas, and frankly, many more. But again, it's the combination of these things over someone's lifetime. That's what I call the magic of Easterseals. I'm going to do this program all over again until I get this right. Right here in Raleigh, we deliver 24 of those programs are officially formally involved, but it may draw in many other type of services. Over 1,000 people served a year. Almost 30% of those are minors. Almost 75% of them are minorities. And almost 90% of them are dealing with a mental health issue of some sort. So the effect is significant and deep. I want to share a little anecdote, if I might, about the last time here, the assertive community treatment team. ACT is what we call it. So in many of the counties in North Carolina or Virginia, there's an ACT team. They typically are county-based. So I attended the staff meetings of the Wake County ACT team several times. They're based over here, or they were based over here on Falls and News Road. I know we consolidated work sides. And so picture this, it's a room about this size. There's about 30 or 40 staff people in there and some more on Zoom. And the composition of this group is healthcare professionals, registered nurses, welfare workers, social workers, social coordinators, PhD sociologists. This is a highly diverse group of people in terms of their training and expertise. And the ACT team supports individuals that come into their loving care. And I'll describe one situation. And basically, during this meeting, one of the coordinators has a Google Sheet up on the wall, and they're updating and going through the status of each one of these individuals. So these are people that have come into our care. There was one individual, a woman, who had a past history of substance abuse and health, mental health challenges, and was in the hospital and was being discharged and had no place to go, no family to receive her or take care of her. So it's not uncommon. The hospital picks up the phone and calls Easterseals. The Easterseals coordinator went to the hospital in her personal vehicle, picked this individual up, brought him back to the facility for a full team assessment to understand what her needs were and what she needed immediately and what was secondary and so forth. So they were able to find some temporary housing for her, some clothing, stock the refrigerator with food, that sort of thing. Now these are, all these highly trained, individuals doing these basic things. And as a follow-up, one of the staff members, a registered nurse, went to this person's apartment and observed that there's a hole in the floor. It's wintertime and it's letting cold air into the apartment. So she gets in her car, she drives to Home Depot. She picks up hammers and nails and boards. There's a registered nurse, goes back and covers the hole so that the environment would be more comfortable for that individual. This is the intense culture of care that permeates the Easterseals organization. And it is the smallest of examples of what happens 20,000 times a day. So those stories, and I got a million others just like that. That one grabbed me because here's a registered nurse. She's just a young lady. You know, she obviously knows how to go to Home Depot and get hammers and nails and fix the floor. But she saw what was needed and she reacted to it for that person at that moment in time. That's what Easterseals does for a lifetime of people. So, you know, we talk a lot about collaboration with other organizations, whether they're other nonprofits that we work in conjunction with that provide services that we outsource to them, whether it's corporations that provide services or events or financial contributions and so forth. But collaboration to us is how we keep our presence in the organization and fully engage those people we serve and those that don't need us right now. It's what's important when it comes to collaboration as my ask, if you will, is that it burnishes the brands of both organizations, Easterseals obviously, but also the organization, whether it's Rotary or a corporation that you work for or own. And that multiplies the beneficial effect that we can have as people who care about Raleigh, about Wake County, about the state of North Carolina, and the communities that exist within that. People prefer to do business and be associated with organizations that care about social issues. The fact that y'all were sitting here listening to me, a broad representation of the best and the greatest in Wake County and in Raleigh is an example of that. Positive business reputation, increased sales, obviously all those things come with that. Importantly to all of our businesses is people want to work at an organization and be associated with an organization that cares and is engaged in helping the social welfare of the community in which they live. The street that I live on, when I joined Easterseals, nobody knew what Easterseals was. They couldn't say, I know what Easterseals is and what Easterseals does. But in talking to it and giving my elevator speech, which Eric and I were talking, it's hard to give an elevator speech about something that helps us comprehensively as we do and as Rotary does. Once they understood that, they go, well, wait a minute. You know, my child had speech therapy, you know, and it was administered by an Easterseals individual. And so I can almost assure you that as part of your neighborhood, part of the community, that's how Easterseals becomes part of the fabric of the community, and the importance of it is what we do. And frankly, it's what personally drives me to commit my time and the support that I've given to Easterseals. The last one I'm going to get right. So I did it. So that's our story. I hope that at a minimum intrigues you as to what Easterseals is and does. It helps you appreciate how important we are to the community in which you reside, in which I reside. And to the extent that there's ideas where we could collaborate on events, you know, whether it's formal events or just get-togethers, you know, lunch and learns, you know, small ways to contribute. You know, a lot of what we spend our time doing as a board chair and as a board member is raising money. I mean, that's what we do is. But by educating people about what we do, the contributions are there, the support is there, people's energy is focused on it. So that's my story, and I thank you for your time. I thank you for the wonderful lunch, Carrie. It was very nice. Any questions?
Is Easterseals kind of like an aggregator of sort of available services that kind of pulls things together from different, actually, whether it be government programs or other charities and stuff? Is that kind of what it's about there? You're doing this.
It's a great question. It's a great question because it allows me to point out a differentiating factor about what Easterseals is. We are a direct provider of services. Yes, we take Medicaid and Medicare money. Yes, we get some small United Way contributions. Those are greatly appreciated and helpful. that are aggregating, you know, a cause for a cause and distributing funds on that basis. We actually are a physical operation embedded in North Carolina and Virginia with offices in 140 locations. Right, facility. It might just be a lab, or might just be, you know, a place for speech therapy. You know, like 140 locations. We are the operator. That's a great question. Allow me to.
So following up on that, do the bulk of people who are receiving services from Easterseals are they going to an Easterseals branded office, or are they, you know, or do you have people in hospitals, or, you know, where do people provide their services?
Yeah, so that's a great question. It's obviously changed in the last 2.5 years sure. Because of COVID. So and I'll try not to compare the two, but basically a lot of the therapy that can be performed in the home is done. That can be done through Zoom. That can be done by hands-on visit. A lot, particularly in the autism scale, a lot of autistic individuals really resonate with the iPad and the iPhone, so we're able to use those as tools. Schools, other institutions or other caregivers, facilities, churches, and our own facilities, of course. So it's really a combination of trying to, especially with COVID, trying to deliver what we do with the least amount of travel time and direct personal contact as we can. But as you can imagine, with the type of folks that we are helping, direct personal contact is very effective, is the most effective. So thank you. Yes, sir.
I think the founder of Easterseals was also the founder of Rotary, Paul Harris.
So I did not know that.
Just trying to help you.
So you might imagine.
I think.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out. You might imagine I've done a little research on Rotary the last few days, and I did not pick up that fact, except that they're both based in Chicago. The national organization for Easterseals is based in Chicago. So it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
Little trivia, trying to help.
He just looked off good.
Sorry. Well, you know, one of my jobs, big part of my job is going around and giving discussions that, you know, I don't like this. And it used to be, if somebody asked me a question, I could sort of make up the answer or get what I thought was right. But there's so many fact checkers in the room. Doing Google, it's more difficult to do. That's a great piece. Paul Harris. Right.
I mean, I think Kevin or Rick, maybe y'all know more about that.
Okay, all right.
Since you keep such great statistics, and you've identified that mental health is one of your largest percentages of folks, do you have any stats that show how many may have had interactions, negative or otherwise, with police officers? And is there any collaboration between your organization and the police department?
So I don't know the direct answer to your question also with respect to the direct interaction with the local police. Typically, folks that come into our care are referrals from either a local doctor or physician or a hospital that they've had to because of an issue. And P, I don't know if we know if referrals actually from local police departments, particularly in the case of mental health and substance abuse occur.
They typically are referred by law enforcement to social services, who then refer them to us.
Did I introduce Dee Blake?
No.
I'm sorry. So Dee is, give you a little quick bio.
I'm the Senior Director of Development for Easterseals UCP. This is my second go-round with them, so it's an outstanding organization I'm very familiar with. And actually, our founder was Edgar Allan, the Chicago resident. Yeah, I believe it was a reigning member. So that's
Very,
what
very
that
nice.
was.
Get your facts straight, Charlie.
But he was a Rotary member, so.
That's the first time you go.
They're one and But it's interesting because the Easterseals organization is about 105 years old, and the Rotary organization is about 110 years old, or something like that. So it's yes, not right.
I've got a question in the chat from
Yeah.
Eric Larson. He says, I remember something called the Mother's March for Dimes and actual Easter seals you could purchase and put on an envelope. If this is the same organization, can you give us a brief history of then up to now?
So I'm going to ask Dee to clarify this, but March of Dimes and the stamps associated with March of Dimes was distinctly different than the Easterseals, which the Easterseals, that name comes from the stamp. So they had a similar program. Generally, if I have that right.
Actually, we do have seals, and the most popular mailing that we do nationwide is our annual calendar and the Easterseals that go out with it. People do still call us and request that if they don't get their mailing. Believe me, we hear about it. Those are very popular and continue to be. We've been doing it for so long.
Did that answer your question, Eric?
I guess so.
Okay, great. Other questions?
I have one. How many full-time staff do you have? And the service providers, are those full-time or is that all volunteer?
So it's all the above, but the 2,300 people that are staff members are, W-2 employees of the organization. There's going to be a combination of those full-time and part-time. Of course, then there's a volunteer core as well. Any clarification on that?
No, you're absolutely right.
How is Easterseals structured? Is there a headquarters?
There is a headquarters for Easterseals National in Chicago. Then there's 11 affiliates across the United States. Easterseals of North Carolina is one of the largest, not the largest, one of the largest. We have a headquarters in the Beta Center over on Glenwood Avenue. It's right next to Golden Corral, so that's how I refer to it. And there's not that many people actually work in the headquarters office. Most of the staff is deployed across the organization. We've got over a 94% dollars coming in that are spent on direct services. So we're pretty thin at the administrative top level.
Any other questions? Keep.
Okay, next.
What mostly do volunteers do in the organization? Sounds like you have one professional on staff. And what do you need the volunteers mostly for?
Yeah.
We have a wide variety of volunteer opportunities. It's everything from doing small fundraising events at your company, a Blue Jean Day or whatever. You can sponsor, believe it or not, we actually have foster parents, because as you can imagine, a child with a disability that requires additional attention or mental health challenge, autism, for instance, they require specialized foster care. So you can sponsor a foster care family to help them. You can provide bags of food for foster care families or group homes. You can volunteer. We had a group recently come to the group home here in Raleigh, and they did some landscaping work and potted some beautiful plants for the front porch. So there's a wide variety of activities. We will be adding over time more community fundraising events like walkathons or runs, things like that. But right now,
All of which staff I volunteer.
Most immediate needs are support for our group homes and our staff providing services to families who are foster care. And we need things donated as well. I know we need a treadmill donated for one of our offices that they use for physical therapy. The group home here in Raleigh, they're looking for a patio table for their patio for the residents who live there. So a patio table and chairs. So there's anything you can imagine. You might be our residents and our people that are providing services can probably use that same thing. Gas cards for staff that are traveling to go provide care directly. All of those kinds of things are great opportunities for volunteers that don't require a lot of time.
Things that arose during the initial COVID period was we had staff that didn't own smartphones. So somebody from Verizon hooked up with somebody from here or somebody from there, put together a program and basically acquired a number of smartphones with connectivity to our staff members so they could do what they do remotely. Another area that was included in what Dee mentioned was just driving people to appointments. That's a critical need every day. You know, our staff members don't necessarily have time, nor do they get really good reimbursement, to be blunt. By the time they're spending in the car going to pick somebody up and take them to a doctor's appointment or to any other sort of therapy or treatment. So those folks are also included in our volunteer corps.
Is there means testing for your services, or do you take all comers and charge people that have the means?
So the means testing that exists is accomplished through Medicare, Medicaid, and which is of course means based. But no, other than that, no. If you qualify for a service, and you could be you know affluent, if you will, or socioeconomically challenged, you have an equal opportunity to access the services that we provide. There's no differentiation in that respect other than the Medicare, Medicaid qualification. Yes, ma'am.
Just to kind of add on to that, I have a son with special needs, and once you qualify for one of those programs, you receive a list of providers that you can pick from. And I'm assuming the programs that you guys run are part of that pick list. So you can pick, you know, if you need, you may pick from a case management list, you can pick from X amount of people, or physical therapists, or occupational therapists, or to get those services. But it's a great help as a personal recipient for him.
Other questions?
Got a couple more in the chat. James asked, in your stats, I guess he's looking at your website, almost 75% of the people served are minorities. Why is that number so high?
Why is the number of minorities so high?
I would say it's in part because we've had a tremendous influx of minorities moving into our area. It's one of the best places in the country to live. And with various reasons why we have more immigrants coming to the country, whether it be from Ukraine or South American countries, we're seeing more people in the area. And they're not familiar with the services that are available. So they don't know where to go for help. So we've done a lot of outreach in minority communities to try to address those needs and make sure that those children and adults that need services know that we're here and know what we offer.
Another question, Reagan Weaver. Good presentation. When did Easterseals switch from UCP advocacy?
We have not switched from UCP advocacy. And that's something that we should have explained. I should have explained at the outset. So you see the name of our organization is Easterseals UCP. So Easterseals and UCP in North Carolina, Easterseals in North Carolina and UCP in Virginia joined probably 10 years ago or so.
2006.
2006, so longer than 10 years ago, basically combined their efforts. So UCP, cerebral palsy, is in fact one of the programs that we treat, and people are involved as who are burdened by cerebral palsy can partake of our services just like anybody else. So, but we kept that name as part of the merger agreement at the time for 2006. I can't believe it's not long ago.
And we still work closely with the United Cerebral Palsy National Organization as well as the Easterseals National Organization.
Great question. I should have addressed that up front.
And Philip is asking, how is the organization funded, and how are the participants identified to use the services? And I think part of the question has been answered, but where does your funding come from?
So about 70% of our funding is Medicare, Medicaid. So that's reimbursement from those programs directly for the services that we directly provide. There's another component of funding that is the school system. So when we are providing services and education to people, to young folks who are of school age, we get supplements from the school system. There's contributions, obviously. What are the key funding sources that I'm
This is the primary. We get some corporate, some foundation support, but it is primarily through Medicare, Medicaid, or services that we provide and don't receive any reimbursement for. That's where the issues come in and cover those expenses.
Yeah, and I should have covered that. The amount of, I'll call it pro bono services that Easterseals provides is significant. It's probably in the 10 to 15% range of everything we do. The way I come in is I do the reverse of what do we get reimbursed for? And it's another 10 or to 15% that we don't get reimbursed for, yet are critical to the needs that that individual has. So we provide those on a pro bono basis. Anything else? My wife and I have been in the homes of many people that we've served across North Carolina, not in Virginia, but we've been to their homes in North Carolina, typically at Christmas time with turkeys and all that kind of stuff. And it links you directly to what Easterseals does, and it touches you in the core of what you care about and what you want to see happening in our communities. And it just gives me just a tremendous sense of gratification to contribute what little I can in terms of time and financial support to that. So I want to share that, to make sure that I share the passion that I have and the importance of what Easterseals is and does.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you again. Thing doesn't work.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. Beverage of your choice.
Awesome. I can drink wine out of that.
Whatever you want. I think
Thanks.
your passion is definitely evident.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you and Easterseals does. Thank you, Rotarians, for joining us for the May 23rd meeting. Welcome, Matt. Thank you for visiting. And Jessica, excited for your induction next week. So, oh, and then congratulations, Grandpa Frank. Major congratulations. All right, Rotarians, can you please rise for the formal weight test? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Oh, sorry, warning. It's a good thing to know.
All right.